So let's dive into the Bible a little bit because that's a really interesting idea. Because I was raised Christian. I learned the story and all that stuff, and
Mhm.
I became more curious as I got older about trying to
Yeah.
investigate things and things that made more sense to me. But can you talk a little bit about the Council of Nicaea, which
Yeah.
most Christians and Catholics don't really know that history, and
Hmm.
because everything according to the world that according to dogma, it's the word of
Hmm.
God, and
Right.
it could
Yeah.
very well be, but the physical aspects of how the Bible was created and edited was all in the Council of Nicaea. So can you explain to people who've never heard of this? This is history, by the
Hmm.
way. This is not made up.
Yeah.
This is not fake
Right.
history. This is actual ancient history.
Yeah. It's real history. The Council of Nicaea, under Pope, his name was Roman Emperor Constantine. In Rome had decided, like, you know what, man, we're battling against this Christianity, this monotheistic mindset, and it's like, it's taking a lot of toll on us financially. It doesn't make any sense. These people are rebelling against us nonstop, and this thing still is growing. Even as much as we rebuke it, it keeps growing. Maybe we should just adopt it. Maybe we should just adopt this and bring it in and add our pagan holidays to this thing, and now we can tax them and we can take the tithes and all the offerings. And so it seemed like a great idea. The Council of Nicaea, they came together and they started analyzing a lot of the text that was left behind, that was orchestrating the majority of, obviously, the Old Testament of the Bible, information from the Torah, and different scripts that were left and found in caves and vases and over time. And they said, you know what, let's make this into one book. Instead of having all these separate scrolls and texts all over the place, let's make this into one canonized Bible. And so they began to handpick information from different texts. A lot of the texts that they had found on these scrolls, these Dead Sea Scrolls and scriptures, Nag Hammadi and other ancient texts, Torah and so forth, they literally had already been copied from Sumerian tablets, the majority of them. Sumerian tablets, the Mahabharata, some from the Bhagavad Gita, some from, believe it or not, the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is really called the Egyptian Book of Going Forth by Day. And so then there were other books that existed, which are the apocryphal books that they decided to keep out, like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Adam and all these other books. There's an incredible amount of information. They literally put this in, modify that, or change these two verses around, edit this, delete that, leave it in, but delete that statement, cut this story down. The story is too long, take it out. Don't talk about this, don't talk about that. And so they made this remix of the text and they put it into this book called the Canonized Bible. And then they began to put that out and said, this is the word of God. No, it's the word of man. It's a true remix is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So they took information that was already copied and plagiarized and then remixed it even more. So the problem that you have with the Bible is you have some truths mixed with some information that's part truth, part lie, remixed by mankind, and some information that's completely, absolutely fabricated altogether. When you're talking about hell and you're talking about raptures and all this kind of stuff, that stuff doesn't even exist. So it's a pretty interesting book, and they realized that the power of the information and the domination and control they could put on masses with that book, they knew that they can literally dominate and take over masses and masses of people, and that's exactly what they did. And it's unfortunate because it put us into a time loop where it slowed down the progression of humanity's technological advances. There was a scientific study done based on the Arabs, where we were in the 1800s, and the technological advances that were coming out of the Arabs, believe it or not. And they realized that if it wasn't for the Inquisitions and the Roman Empire and so forth, we could have been on the moon in the 1800s. That's how far back religion has set humanity. So it's a pretty interesting thing. And the book today obviously still has a huge grab on people's consciousness. And because of mankind's unwillingness to really research and investigate the information, it still has a heavy grasp on us and will for quite some time, even though people are now beginning to wake up and ask more questions and dig deeper into the text and look for answers and ask questions about the contradictory information in there, there's still a lot more work to do.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.